and then I'm just going to do a little test render here. And okay, it's not looking all that great right now, but I haven't played with the settings as much as I should. Again, let's go into the fur description. Let's move up here. Let's make the density 10,000, like that. And let's make the base ambient color white. Let's make the tip ambient color. It's going to be a white rabbit. Another thing I like to do is I'm going to also go into my attributes, my material attributes, and I'm going to make the color underneath white as well. That'll just disguise any kind of baldness that we have. And let's just do a little test render and see what we've got. Now it's looking a little better. It's still pretty thin, but you can see that it's evenly distributed and it's kind of bunching up in the neck and places like that. But we can definitely start going in. I'm going to select the hair fur feedback in the outliner, so I bring up these settings again, and again I want to look for the UV. I'm going to increase the UV. Where is that? I always forget where everything is. I just have to kind of go back and forth and find, oh, it's the U samples. Let's make it 800 and 800. You don't want to make it too dense. It's just going to be, it's going to take a really long time to render. And let's do that. Let's see what's going on. And we're starting to get something here. Now we can also, once again, I'm going to select this fur, and let's go into the fur description. We can increase or decrease the length here. The baldness is basically how dense it is, and we can play with the inclination. That's sort of where the hair is pointing, and there's different places we can point the hair. We can make it point in a certain direction or not. There's all kinds of scraggle. We can make it a little, make the hair a little curly, I guess. There's clumping, and you can just play with all of these different settings here. And now do a little test render, and you can see that it's starting to sort of shape up here. I'd like to make it more dense, is kind of what I'm trying to do, and it's not working exactly like I want it to. Let's just make it 1,000. Let's see what happens. And yeah, sometimes it's going to take a little while to catch up. And go into here and just see if that's going to work. And it's working a little better. Again, I think I could probably just keep playing with some of these different settings that I've got going on here. Let's add a 0 to this density, see if that does anything. I don't think it will. I think that this density is more of a rendering than an actual. Well, yes, that helped out a little bit. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, you're probably wondering, okay, well, that doesn't really look very good and it's not giving me much control. It doesn't give you much control. Now, the way that the fur works, the way that the fur is being placed onto this object here, is that there's a color map. It's just a black and white color map, and it's just putting the hair on whatever wherever you is told to be put, whatever you paint on. Well, let me just show you. I'm not explaining it very good. I can probably show you a little better. If we go into fur, paint fur attributes tool, go into the options, and it's going to open up an options box. It's going to open up two actually, and one is the settings, and one is just it tells you which tool you're going to be using. So what I can do is I can use a brush to paint on the fur, but the fur is going to go on whether it's white. If the map is white, it's going to be fur, and if it's black, it's going to be no fur. So what I want to do is I want to start fresh. I don't want to start over again, but I'm going to get rid of the fur that I placed on here, and then I'm going to place some fur on using the brush. I'm going to open up the display tab here, and I'm going to go color feedback. I'm going to check the color feedback, and the minimum color is 0 and the maximum color is 1. 1 being white, minimum color 0 being black. If I go back up here, yeah, and sometimes it's just going to hang up on you. It's just going to, there's just a lot of memory being used right now. Back to, we have some color feedback, and I want to put it to replace, and I'm going to put the value down to 0, 0 being black. I'm going to flood. I'm going to flood and what should happen is the fur should go away. So the reason why the fur didn't go away when I flooded it is in the fur attributes tool here. I have it set to direction, and I want to set it to baldness. So now if I have the value now at 0 and I flood it, and the fur will go away. Now we can start fresh again. Alright, so now I'm going to put the value back up to 1. And with the value up to 1, I have the paintbrush, and if I press B, I want to increase the size of my brush a little bit. Let's make it about that big. Pressing B increases the size of the brush, and now I can paint fur onto the bunny where I want it. Let's do it right here. So you can see it's not going in those places where I don't have a nice UV. I can try to paint it there, but nothing's going to happen. It's just really not liking that area. Let's do a little test render here to kind of see what's going on. Yeah, and then you can see where the fur is being painted on. Just so you can see a little better, well, I'm gonna get out of my tool here, and I'm gonna go to my material attributes, and just so we can see the fur just a little better there, I'm going to make the color a little darker just so we can see a little bit more. And I can continue to paint. Let's just do some on his face here, on the bunny's face. We can paint a little bit of fur, and like that, and then we could take a look and see how that's looking. And okay, it's not looking too bad. Now you have some other options here. This is just painting fur, baldness, or lack of baldness for that matter, but you can also start adjusting. So once you've got your fur, let's just do some on his some forehead here, and let's turn him around, and let's do a little bit on the back of his ear. I don't have a lot of space here, but let's we got a little bit going on. Let's do the back of the ear, and turn around. It's just very, very slow, and again, I think that there's just so much going on. I also have a pretty high density of fur on this bunny here. It's just doing a lot of calculations. And here you can see how that I flooded the bunny with fur, and you can see places where I have groomed it and painted the direction, and places where I haven't. So as you can see, it's somewhat of a complicated process. It can take a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and depending on the speed of your computer, it could take a little bit of time. So be methodical, have a good UV map. First of all, make sure that your UVs are evenly spread out, nicely done, on the object that you want to put fur on, and also make sure that that you don't have too dense of a fur. You're going to have to kind of play around with the density and the different settings in those fur attributes that I showed you.